All right, Ben. Thanks for joining. This will be our walk and talk. And just to kind of frame it up, ultimately what we're looking for is just to get your opinion on micro warehousing, why you started same day delivery, and some of the sustainability initiatives that come along with that.
Yeah, sounds great.
Do you want to open up a question to start?
Yeah. So Ben, maybe you could just talk to us a little bit first about introduce Ohi, what Ohi is, and then we can go into like the importance of local warehousing and shipping.
Yeah, sure. And I can talk a little bit about why I started it and why I think it's becoming more and more relevant today.
What problem, also the problem you're trying to solve, I think talk about.
Yeah, sounds good. So I'm Ben. I'm the founder of Ohi, and we're a micro warehousing platform based here in New York and with locations all across the US. The idea of micro warehousing came out of a problem that was very personal to me, but that I think probably right now a lot of other people will be able to identify with. And so a few years ago, I had a really bad back injury that paralyzed me for a period of time. And during the recovery from that process, it took a good 16 months for me to recover from that injury, during which time I was basically stuck at home all the time. I couldn't walk very far, I couldn't go to the shops, I couldn't carry anything. And so I literally just had to order everything online. Kind of very similar to, I think, probably how a lot of people are feeling right now. They're stuck at home, they can't go to the shops, they're having to order online. And it became hugely frustrating for me that during that time that I could order things on Amazon and in the UK at the time, get them next day or even same day in some instances. But from all the direct to consumer brands that I really wanted to shop at and I really identified with, it was still taking 5 days for their products to come. And that discrepancy in terms of the speed of delivery, when I was so reliant on e-commerce, became hugely frustrating. And so it was that problem that I set out to solve, with understanding how Amazon manages to provide such amazing speed on all its deliveries, but why no one else can compete against that. And the big realization I had was that Amazon has built out this whole infrastructure layer of small warehouses very close to customers that enables them to do this pretty amazing next day and now same day delivery. And every other e-commerce brand just couldn't afford to do that. No other singular brand was big enough to be able to build out that infrastructure. And so there was a need for someone to come along and do what Ohi is now doing and own and build that infrastructure layer that they can aggregate all these other brands together within these locations to enable them all to do same day delivery at very low cost. And that concept of taking unused spaces within cities and turning those into warehouses is really what micro warehousing is. And so that's really why I started it. And I can talk, if you like, about more why we think that's advantageous, how it works. You just tell me.
Yeah, let's dive into actually more specifically from a consumer point of view. What does local warehousing mean? What does micro warehousing mean? These are kind of new words. I don't think that many people that are shopping online are actually even thinking about warehousing and how it works now versus what you're doing. So maybe maybe a lay of the land now, and then what's broken with that system.
Or what's at least limiting with that system.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No, yeah. Sure. So that old world that really has been the case for the last 60 years, what it means to be a warehouse traditionally is big central location somewhere in the middle of the country, normally Memphis or Tennessee. And these are built on low cost land out in the middle of nowhere. And the priority really traditionally has been to just lower the cost of storage. And all your orders are picked and packed there and then driven across the country or now increasingly flown across the country to get to the customer. The kind of new world that Ohi is building is reframing that thinking. And what we realized, our insight was that what customers care most about now is speed of delivery. And when you look at the cost to do very quick delivery from these central old school warehouses, is very, very expensive because, like I say, you normally have to fly that product somewhere else. And if you're wanting to do 2-day delivery, it can be very, very expensive. It's impossible to do next day or same day delivery from that old world centralized warehouse location. So in this new world that Ohi is building, we're taking spaces in cities and enabling brands to get inventory very, very close to their end customer, and thereby connecting food to local delivery services that have emerged over the last few years. So DoorDash, Postmates, Relay, FedEx same day, whoever it might be, to do very, very quick delivery to a customer. And so from a consumer perspective, what it means is that whereas in the past, you would have found that your direct to consumer brands that you worked with, really the fastest they could get you something would be 2 days, and they'd often charge you more for it. And behind the scenes, you won't have realized, but it'd be very environmentally damaging for you to order something 2 days because it would be flown on a plane to you. Now, with what Ohi's done, you can order something and get it literally within 2 hours. Forget about 2 days, we're now 2 hours, and it's delivered to you by a person on a bike who's just cycled across the city and delivered it into your hand. And so it eliminates both a lot of the cost of fast delivery, but also a lot of the damaging environmental impact that faster and faster delivery has on the environment.
That's incredible. That was a great overview. Really interesting to hear how you looked at essentially like the two limitations, right? One was the actual cost of storing inventory, and the second was the cost of shipping it, and then the speed associated with that. And so it seems like what you're able to do with maybe a slightly higher storage cost ends up leading to like a much faster delivery and cheaper delivery, and environmentally cheaper delivery too, which is great.
Yeah.
Awesome. What else do you want to talk about?
Yeah. So, hey, Ben, could you expand a little bit on the environmental impact of warehousing in the center of the country versus like micro warehousing and then the bike delivery, mobile delivery? And I know you just kind of answered, one of our questions is going to be, how is Amazon able to deliver like Prime within a day or 2 days? Maybe just more clearly walk through that difference or the environmental impact difference, just so we can definitely have that as an answer.
Yeah, sure. So one thing that really shocked me when I started looking into warehousing and fulfillment and how that whole behind the scenes of e-commerce works was really how environmentally damaging it all is. Often if inventory is in a central location in the middle of the country, most of the demand is on the coasts. So most people that are buying from e-commerce companies are New York, LA, San Francisco, and getting product to them quickly often involves having to fly it across the country. And that's very, very bad for the environment, obviously, because you're emitting a lot of CO2 emissions. Even if you're trucking something across the country, because of the distances involved, shipping singular parcels to consumers also ends up being pretty damaging for the environment. That was the one big realization I had. The second was the amount of packaging waste that comes with e-commerce. And I'm sure you guys and all of your listeners will have had that experience where you end up with all this cardboard and all these cardboard boxes in your apartment that's come from just a few deliveries. And I found this stat that says that in the US every single year, the amount of cardboard that's used in the e-commerce packages is equivalent to 1 billion trees. And it's a hugely damaging aspect of e-commerce is the amount of packaging waste that takes place. And so what we're doing at Ohi that's really beneficial from both those sides is that by getting inventory ahead of time, very close to the customer, we avoid the need to fly it anywhere for a start. And secondly, we can then deliver it using bike couriers, which obviously emit 0 CO2 versus a traditional delivery truck. Secondly is because we're using these bike couriers that can cycle point to point from our location directly to the customer, we eliminate the need for lots of packaging. Often that packaging is there to protect the item inside because it's being thrown in multiple trucks and it goes through multiple distribution hubs on its way to you in the old world system. Under our new system, it doesn't do any of that. And so a lot of our brands that Ohi works with will deliver things in nice tote bags or recyclable paper bags and really eliminate the vast majority of the cardboard packaging waste.
Yeah, that's huge. Okay, great. You want to talk on like one or two more things, and then Ben will let you wrap up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hey, could you talk? That was actually an awesome answer. The packaging answer is perfect. I wanted to know a little bit about kind of the future of warehousing, the future of e-commerce and shipping. Do you think every city will move to micro warehousing? What about second and third tier cities? I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts on like where Ohi is going, so I'll let you take that however.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, what does the future of warehousing logistics look like? Our real belief is that micro warehousing is the future of warehousing and fulfillment. The reason is because we see this inevitable move towards consumers wanting to get everything and anything that same day or even on demand. And so that world where consumers were happy to wait 3 to 5 days to get their parcel is long gone. I think even 2 days now is too long. Most people, if you look at basket abandonment rates, people abandon baskets if they don't see a same day delivery option. And so that inevitable shift in consumer expectation is really what opens the market up for the need for micro warehousing and for what Ohi is doing. And so our belief is that as we continue to grow, we have locations now in New York, LA, San Francisco. We just opened San Diego today, and we'll continue to grow across all metropolitan areas of the US. And when we're successful in 3 years' time, we'll be able to cover the vast majority of the urban United States with same day and on-demand delivery. And I think the future of commerce generally, I think we'll look back in 3 years' time, 3 to 5 years' time, and it will seem as foreign to us then that anyone ever waited 3 days or even 2 days to get something they ordered online. We'll be so used to being able to order anything really anywhere at any time and get it in a matter of hours that it will feel the same as it feels now with Uber. Like I can't even imagine a world where I had to actually wait for a taxi rather than just order one via my smartphone. I think that's the way that commerce in general is going, and that move is what Ohi is enabling.
That's great, Ben. I think maybe a good question to wrap up with is the tech that you guys are also working with as well. So it's, from my understanding, it's not just the distributed network that you're building with micro warehouses, but it's also the ability to work with brands to distribute inventory to meet demand based on sales data and based on a platform that you guys are building. Do you want to talk through that a little bit too?
Yeah, sure. So the really hard thing, and really the reason that this hasn't been done before, is when you take inventory from a centralized warehouse and distribute it across multiple nodes, across multiple locations, you often need to hold a lot more inventory to enable that to happen. And that's to make sure that you have enough inventory in stock in each of these nodes to fulfill the demand locally. What Ohi is building in terms of our technology is kind of threefold. Firstly is very, very good predictive analytics. And so we'll take the data of the brands that we work with and use that to create a prediction on what we think will sell in the next month or the next 2 months to give brands better visibility into what inventory they should put where. And second thing is we have this dynamic order routing algorithm that sits at checkout. And so as customers place orders at checkout, we're dynamically looking at our network and pushing that order to whichever warehouse enables the lowest cost or the fastest delivery, but also rebalancing that inventory. And so an example of that could be if you send 1,000 of a particular 1,000 fell shoe to LA, and a month or a couple of weeks into the month, you had only sold 200 of them, we would start routing 3 to 5 day shipments or 2 day deliveries for people that lived in the middle of the country to that warehouse to rebalance that inventory and make sure that the whole network, the idea is to be able to create this distributed network that feels and behaves as if it's a single central location. And so that's really the technology we're building that enables this micro warehousing network to function.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Tell me if that's not very clear.
No, that was great.
I actually have one more question. So for customers or consumers that are interested in supporting micro warehousing initiatives because of the environmental impact, et cetera, how can they look for brands or companies that are warehousing this way?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, they can reach out to us at shipohi.com, shipohi.com, and we're happy to send them a list of the brand partners that we currently work with. We don't currently advertise them on the website, but if people want to reach out to us, we're more than happy to send them a list of the brands that we work with.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Well, Ben, this has been great. I think this is a good kickoff. I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording now for us.
Yeah, sure.